On tonight's episode of the CHGO Cubs Related Podcast, Cade Horton makes his Wrigley Field debut against the White Sox. The Cubs coming off taking 2 of 3 from the Marlins, but the offense has run a bit cold. We'll talk about all of that and more on the CHGO Cubs Related Podcast. This is the CHGO Cubs Related Podcast, driven by Toyota. Let's go places and bet 365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use code CHGO365 at sign up. Hello, everyone. My name is Corey. I am joined, as always, by Brendan. We are coming to you live on Thursday. It is May 15th. And Brendan, for the moment, the Chicago Cubs still in first place. And so life still good.
Life's still good. Cade Horton, Corey, looking good in his debut against the Mets, making his Wrigley Field debut. Life is good. We still have Kyle Tucker, still have PCA going off. Things could be much worse.
They certainly can. Plenty to talk about on this episode. We'll talk about the Cubs taking 2 of 3 from the Marlins at Wrigley Field. We'll talk about the offense running a little cold, not in their best stretch for the last couple weeks here. We will talk about how Ben Brown looked. I know Brendan has some graphs he wants to show you all. We will talk about Cade Horton's debut in New York, coming in relief, but pitching for a few innings, and then setting that up for his first major league start and his Wrigley debut and his first Crosstown Classic. Getting it all out at once for Cade Horton. We'll talk about some bullpen guys. Want to just kind of update, as always, Cody has the circle of trust, Luke, the triangle. We don't have any shapes here on this show, but we'll talk about how we feel about those guys. Namely, I think guys like Brad Keller, Drew Pomeranz, Chris Flexen, Daniel Palencia, some of the successes, and maybe talk about the area of concern, which I think highlights right now on Julian Merryweather. But Brendan, overall, 25-19. I think a lot of people, we have to figure out a way for the Cubs to not have to play finales somehow.
Well, that's the new market inefficiency. Whoever figures out how to stop the Cubs from playing finales or on Sundays, this is going to be a 120-win team at that rate.
Yeah. So, a weird spot, I think, because when they faced the Mets and the Giants, 2 of the better teams in the National League, 2 really good pitching staffs, the Mets, I think starting staff has been the best in baseball, or at least it had been until, when they faced the Cubs. Hoped that the offense would look a little better in this Miami series. But ultimately, Brendan, I came away from that series feeling like that is ultimately what good teams do. And if you want to be a good team that gets to October, you have to find ways to win series and beat bad teams, even when you are not playing your best baseball. This Cubs offense was red hot to start the season. They're not going to maintain that level every game, every night, week over week, month over month for the entire year. And good teams find a way to battle out and win series even when they don't look great when we're all sitting there watching the games.
It's 44 games. So to zoom in on a 4 or 5 game stretch for really any player, but for the team at large, doesn't really give you the context you need. It's going to happen when teams just go through a series or a week and they're going through little funks, right? They're winning games, though. We could have come on this podcast down 1-2, losing that series to Miami, feeling a little bit different by having that walk-off win. I know you were at that game. The energy was phenomenal, it looked like. But winning games ugly when the offense is not doing well and doing so coming back in high leverage with bullpen help and a lot of guys cementing them their current roles for the short term for Craig Counsell, it's still encouraging. You just have to zoom out and accept there's 118 games left.
Yeah. I like everybody else wanted them to dominate the Marlins.
I want 10 runs every single game.
Of course.
Every game.
But we also saw that from this Cubs team against better teams. And so I feel like 23-24 Cubs, they lose that series to the Marlins. And you and I are having a different conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And by no means am I saying, wow, they needed to gut out that second win against the Marlins. I'm so impressed by them. Like, that's not the point, but good teams find ways to win series, and they find ways. They didn't play good in that game on Tuesday, but they got their shot in the 9th inning and they took it and they won the game. At this point in the season for the Cubs, they are, and we've said this before, like, they are likely playing multiple seasons within this one season. The first season that we're in now is surviving being without Justin Steele for the whole season, being without Shota for the next month, Ian Happ being out, and getting yourself to the deadline in a competitive spot so that if the front office and ownership would like to, they supplement this team and fix some of these holes. That's the first part. And the reason I say that is because if you're thinking, man, the offense didn't look good, et cetera, what are we going to do about the bullpen or the starters? The team that played the Marlins on Wednesday and lost that game probably doesn't look that similar in certain ways to a team that is playing in September or October. It likely looks maybe significantly different, Brendan. Even just getting Ian Happ and Shota Imanaga back would make it look very different, let alone any trades or acquisitions or things like that. So really, I don't care how they win these games. You don't want them to look like this for too long, but you just have to win games. Stay in front of the division and keep piling up W's. We can worry about how they're doing it. If the offense keeps looking like this for another 3 months, we'll have a different conversation. But I don't expect that to happen.
I don't expect it to happen either. I know when we have the expectations of Kyle Tucker, who may get $500 million, he's gone through a little bit of a funk the last 5 games or so. Zoom out, you look at Kyle Tucker's overall numbers, you're going to see a lot of red on his baseball savant page. Look at this. He is in the 90th percentile for almost every single number. Strikeout rate 94th, walk rate 91st, chase rate 98th, expected WOBA 94th, expected batting average 87th, squared up 86. He's doing everything that you would want. And yeah, of course, in some instances, you want that every single game in and game out. But in reality, baseball, the long nature of the season, it's going to go through these different ebbs and flows. I've been impressed overall, even when they are not performing, that they can lock it in certain contexts. They had no business winning that second game.
Yeah.
And the base running, Corey, continues to do well. Even when they're not hitting, the base running came through on that second game. Nico Horner's going from first to third, screaming his head off around his second base to score the game-winning run. Vidal Brujan, we'll see if he sustains his roster spot, but he was pinch run for. And so you still have this Tooley type depth for the current moment that in this season, as you said, is providing some degree of value in sequencing for Craig Counsell to play the cards right and for the coaching staff to make the most on the margins in the form of still running the bases and still providing value when the team is not hitting.
Yeah, and I do have clearance to read. If you listen to our podcast, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, this might not make a whole lot of sense, but I'm not going to give too much backstory. I do have an official statement from my mom on Tuesday night's win, and that statement is, well, he owed us that one. So
he owes us much more.
That is the statement, I believe, comes from the years of torment from Justin Turner's time with the Dodgers. And so that was the official PR statement from my mom's camp.
Is she going to come on this podcast?
I did get a lot of tweets about that. They won the game. I had a bunch of tweets like, what did your mom say about that? There you go.
It was his first double of the year, first extra base hit, about damn time.
Came at the right time.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, I barely even want to. I feel like what you acknowledged on Tucker is more than I even care to spend on the subject. He's fine. Guys slump. Go look at any star player, pick a certain couple week sample, you'll find bad numbers in there. It's a long season. And that's the whole point with Kyle Tucker, is that when he's slumping, his overall numbers, he's still the 20th best hitter in baseball.
He has a 400 weighted on base.
That's the point. He's going to be fine. He looks a little off balance, like just missing those pitches. It happens. It happens to everybody. I told you I was digging around. I'm just picking random dates. I found a 85 at bat sample from Shohei Ohtani last year, where he had a 600 OPS and a 170 batting average. It happens.
Well, he's a pitcher.
Happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So,
but what a joy though it is to talk about this team like this. When the season started, if you were to have told me by middle of May we'd be having these conversations, I would have been ecstatic. We're talking about B. Crow Armstrong on base for 9 wins above average. Kyle Tucker looking every bit of the MVP. You and I envisioned Seiya Suzuki locking it in. Dansby Swanson's been on a heater. He's on pace to break his career season home run record. And the rest of the lineup overperforming from guys like Miguel Amaya and Carson Kelly. As a bulk unit, this team has far exceeded my expectations, and it is so fun to tune in every night with at least the potential to score 6 runs, 7 runs, and it's unfamiliar, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. So overall, like I don't really have any concern. I think, like everybody else, I wish that they looked better. Again, Mets and Giants, tough pitching staffs. This series with the Marlins felt a little weird, Brendan. Like just some of those at bats, it was very not like what we've seen the rest of the season from this team.
There's fog at Wrigley Field. You can barely
chasing more. Not taking what the pitchers were giving, not attacking that Marlins pitching staff. Just some at bats that just felt off, but it happens. Like they were the number 1 offense in baseball for a month and a half. Like things ebb and flow. It's fine. And I do think it underscores really good conversation from our friends Michael Cerami and Brett Taylor on their show, the Bleacher Nation Cubs podcast this afternoon. And I texted Michael that it was sort of like he was just reading out of my brain. It was all stuff that I had kind of
You never text me that? How come you never text me that?
No.
You never text me any positive encouragement?
No, just
Michael.
Things.
Come on.
But their conversation on Ian Happ in particular was one that was like straight out of my brain. Like you feel that absence, man. Like, and we talked about how good he had been as a leadoff hitter, feeling like the Cubs had finally found their leadoff hitter. When he got hurt, he would have been putting up a career high on base percentage near 370. And it's very different. Pete is great, and he's had some good games in the leadoff spot, but very different when Pete's doing his thing and breaking out, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it, in the 6 spot or the 7 spot, when Ian Happ is doing his thing at the front of the lineup. When he's not there, right now, Pete's not doing that in the 6 or 7 spot. You're relying on him to lead off the game with that stuff. So really feeling Ian Happ's absence here. And I think, as we've noted, he's kind of an unheralded, really good player. And, that constant 125 WRC plus, 350, 360 plus on base percentage, it's really important and was a big driver for why the Cubs offense was so good for as long as they were. And I think no surprise that we feel like things are a little bit off when Ian Happ's not there.
It does highlight his value, right? And it points to his value that may have been underappreciated, as you pointed out, before we had Kyle Tucker or before Seiya Suzuki kind of turned in to the slugger you and I were hoping he would eventually turn into. In the leadoff spot he's embraced feels so appropriate for his skill set. And this is someone who was tested out in the leadoff spot multiple years ago. And look how much he's matured over the years. And his profile is perfect. Doesn't chase, heavy contact, occasionally slugs. He's aware of the context in the situation at hand, all in front of Kyle Tucker.
Yep.
Seiya Suzuki. It's perfect.
Yeah. So I think we're going to take our first ad break here, but just finishing on kind of like general thoughts, offense malaise, if you will. You're missing Ian Happ a lot. Kyle Tucker, Seiya, Carson Kelly, all kind of cooling off a little bit or just not in their hottest stretch, kind of all at the same time. Dansby went up. Some of those other guys cooled down. It happens, and they'll all balance out, and we'll be watching Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki go back-to-back in no time. So overall, yeah, frustrating to watch sometimes, but part of the long haul of a 162-game season. I have every confidence this offense is still good. And by all accounts from him, it sounds like Ian Happ's going to be coming back soon and no worse for wear. So hopefully that's the case and we get him back up at the top of the order doing his thing. But let's hit our first ad break here, and then we will come back and talk a little bit about Cade Horton.
Okay. Hey, baseball fans, if you're thinking about upgrading your drive this season, Toyota's 2025 lineup is definitely worth a look. First up, there's the RAV4, a versatile, reliable, and always ready for a little adventure. Then there's the Grand Highlander, plenty of room, super comfortable, great for families or long road trips. Looking for efficiency? The Corolla's got you covered. It's smart, stylish, and easy on gas. Need something a little tougher? The Tacoma brings serious durability, whether you're on the road or off the beaten path. And finally, the Camry, sleek, fun to drive, and packed with performance. You can check out the full lineup at toyota.com or stop by your local Chicagoland dealership today. Toyota, let's go places and become a CHGO diehard and upgrade your fandom today. Get access to our exclusive written content, a free t-shirt, plenty of discounts on future merch and events, plus access to our CHGO Discord lounge where we all hang out and talk Chicago sports and so much more. Go to allchgo.com for the latest information. And now you can join the thousands of CHGO diehards in our community. We cannot wait to connect with you on an ever greater level. Okay, just like your favorite team needs a home court, field, or an ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring. They will be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ballgame. With Empire Today, you get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. So schedule that free in-home installation and estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions do apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for details.
All right, Brendan. I think that's all our general thoughts on the offense. I don't know if you had more, but those were the main points I wanted to highlight, I think.
No, it's just fun to watch this team top to bottom. And one last point. Miguel Amaya has been under, I think, appreciated is not the right word, but just overlooked when you have Carson Kelly quite literally being compared to Barry Bonds, and then
By
Kyle
you.
Tucker. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you have, PCA and Seiya. It's easy to just gloss by his development and how he's really, as a first or second catcher, however you want to say it, embraced his role. And the sparse playing time he had before, the second half of last year, is looking like more and more. That was just like him learning and getting reps. He's looked really good and carried all those adjustments from the second half of last year into the season and performing well above an offensive catcher.
Yeah, I mean, this is really sort of like a dream scenario that you've got right now where you're getting performance out of both, and Craig Counsell is able to manage their days off and keep them fresh and not really have to, think of it in a way of like, oh, if we want to keep our starter fresh, we have to kind of accept no offense today. It's not really like that. He can kind of plug and play as he wishes. I think, we might be getting to a point where that we've seen like Carson Kelly DHing a little bit, at some point, if he comes back to earth as he has a little bit, I don't know how often they're going to want to do that and how they're going to continue using Ballesteros, who we'll talk about a little bit, I would imagine. But those are the decisions to make. But yeah, the production from the catcher spot as a whole has been a very, very nice surprise. Let's talk about Cade Horton, though. Cade Horton obviously made his debut in New York. Really just the one blemish there, Brendan, the big home run, but otherwise looked really good. I'd love to get your thoughts on his first outing in relief coming after Brad Keller against the Mets, and then just kind of what you expect to see against this White Sox team. And this is going to be, with Cade Horton, our Taking the Temp segment. We are taking the temp on Cade Horton, and that is brought to us by Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They are your trusted local experts. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. So, Brendan, give me the temp on Cade Horton.
Cade Horton, do you like Justin Steele? Because he looks very
do.
similar. I know you do. He looks very similar to Justin Steele. The similarity is the four-seam fastball shape. One of the reasons that Steele has broken out over the past few years is because he has a unique ability to cut his four-seam fastball while getting carry on that pitch. A lot of cutting fastballs, they don't have that carry that Steele has. And it's that trait specifically the Cubs have adopted across many of their pitchers, both in the minor league level as well as at the big league level. We're seeing Colin Ray, we're seeing Jameson Taillon toy with their four-seam shapes. But specifically, if we overlap Cade Horton's four-seam fastball with Justin Steele's, it's a mirror image, Corey. Look at this. So inverse Justin Steele's four-seam fastball for the horizontal break. That because he's a lefty, we got to match to the righty. What you're looking at here is almost a perfect overlap. So Justin Steele is described as having a unique four-seam fastball that other players do not have because of that cut ride tendency. Cade Horton literally has almost the identical shape. Now, this is data from his last start. It's overlapping data from Justin Steele's first few starts prior to the injury, but it's almost a mirror image. And I laughed at that because for so many years, we were talking just how rare it is to see a fastball like Justin Steele's. And all of a sudden, Cade Horton comes up. He's throwing the same pitch from the right-handed side at 95 miles per hour. This is not Steele's 91, 92, 93. This is a 95 mile per hour pitch that looks, at least from a shape perspective, almost a mirror image, right? Is it a mirror image identically with the release point, yada, yada? No, but at least from a horizontal and a vertical perspective, it's a mirror image.
Yeah, I think, we're going to have to talk to our guys, because I think we got to get our pal in the chat, Edward Elric, like a I Love Brendan's Graphs shirts.
That's right.
I don't know if you ever thought you'd have someone that enthusiastic.
He's a reason I keep him on the show.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, obviously, I think you and I have talked about this before. I am not a fan of these crosstown series. They are very charged for no reason. Like, these teams have basically nothing to do with each other. The only time the games against each other would really matter is if they met in the World Series. So,
well, it could happen. It could happen this year, right? With the White Sox.
Yes, let's plan on that. But I'm looking forward to it. Friday 120 Club. I know Cody will be there. I think our producer at this exact moment, Sarah, will be there in the bleachers, ready to cheer for Cade Horton. And I'm excited for the ovation and the buzz around his debut. And kind of a similar feel, honestly, going into this series for me, Brendan, with the Marlins series. Like, sweeps are tough. I know I heard our guy, Stuckey, sort of demanding a sweep from this team. But White Sox are definitely don't look as bad as they did last year. And sweeps are tough. Doesn't matter who you're playing. So just got to keep winning series. If you play at a 2 out of 3 pace the entire season, your results are going to be very good. So that's really where I'm looking for stuff. But I'm very excited for Cade Horton. I thought he looked great in New York, especially against a very tough lineup.
No walks. 4 innings, no walks.
Yeah.
And he had that change up to Juan Soto. That was the big takeaway for me against one of, if not the best hitter in the league. I'm saying in the league. He showed a changeup that he's been working on that struck him out that made Juan Soto look like a fool. Corey. That was impressive.
That was great. Looking forward to that. Again, the charged environment, the big prospect making it has a lot of narrative potential that I'm not interested in thinking about. So would be a nice one tomorrow for the Cubs offense to wake up and reemerge and get things going. And I know our producer Sarah has it queued up, but I expect it, Brendan, because on Thursday night, earlier tonight, we got an Instagram story. Kyle Tucker's eating deep dish pizza, guys.
Okay.
He's going to be ready to go. Like, he is embracing the true Chicagoan that may live within him, and he is now discovering. The weather's heating up. He's eating deep dish pizza. I wouldn't go Giordano's, but that's a separate. I know you and I are both lose guys, so but I feel good about it. I feel good about that being the turnaround, if you will, to get Kyle Tucker hot again. But yeah, it should be an interesting series. So keeping in the starting rotation, I know you had some thoughts on Ben Brown as well. And Ben Brown, one of those guys, Brendan, that we've talked about where he's in a tough spot for a young guy, because with Shota out for this month or month and a half, whatever it ends up being, Justin Steele out for the season, and the way the rest of the rotation has shaped up, the team kind of needing Ben Brown to be more developed than he necessarily is. And all I mean by that, his results have been quite good. All I mean by that is, like, he's got to go at his own speed. He's still developing and going deeper into games and working on his pitches and getting better at putting guys away and 2-strike counts, et cetera, et cetera. And when you're down your top 2 starters, and, Matthew Boyd's been great, but you're not getting, like, you want him. It's easy for fans to want more from someone like Brown, is what I'm doing a poor job of trying to say. And sometimes I need to remind myself, like, he's got to go at his own pace. He's still developing. He's still learning. It's his first full year as a starter at the MLB level. And that takes a lot of development and growth, but I know you're liking a lot of what you've been seeing.
These pitchers are going through ebbs and flows. They're going to be adjusting, trying new things. For Brown, it's a question of, well, does the stuff look good? That's what it comes down to, because it does, considering his K per 9 is almost 11, his walk per 9 is almost 3, his FIP is almost 3 flat. Yeah, the ERA is 4.75. Yeah, some of the sequencing has not been good. Some of the starts have not been good. So, of course, that may deflate the FIP had he gone deeper into games. But the question I always look for is simply, is the stuff good? And it is. If we look at his 4-seam fastball this year, I don't know if it's intentional or not. This is all just like, data. Do with it what you will. But his 4-seam fastball has more carry on it this year. So if you look on the left here in this graph, anything below that red dashed line is his 2025 average. So about 80% of fastballs thrown last year were thrown below his current average of carry. So he has more carry this year. His 4-seam fastball is almost averaging 17 and a half inches of vert. So that's what you want to see from a 4-seam fastball. Now, though, it is being cut more. So it has more horizontal or less tailing action on it. That might be why his curveball is moving more horizontally, and this might be why he's struggling against the left-handed batters. So his WOBA against the left-handed batters is 370 this year. That's kind of hurting him and leading to the runs that we can't afford to see. Now, his overall strikeout rate is still high against lefties. His ground ball rate has spiked. He's inducing weaker contact at times. The location has been different intentionally at times. But I think it's this trial and error phase he's going through. And by the way, he's only thrown 50 innings before going into this year. He's at 41 right now. Yeah. And he's showing the same walk rate and the same strikeout rate with pitches that still look good and this toying process. I feel as if sometimes Ben Brown's performances here is getting unfairly judged critically. And I get it.
Well, that's the point I'm making in the beginning.
Like a 4.75, make no mistake about it. That's not sustainable. We need better results, of course. It's about projecting the likelihood he can provide better results. And I think there is a strong likelihood he can provide better results.
FIPS in the mid to low 3s. I think he looks really good. I mean, for a 25-year-old, like I said, getting this opportunity
coming
to start
off a bone tumor
every day. Yeah, coming off an injury. And I know, he didn't technically start the season in the rotation. He came out of the pen, I believe, in Japan. It was 5 a.m. So if I have that wrong, I don't remember. But it's his first year being in the rotation, making those starts every 5th day. There's going to be some growth there. And, he's got, those little things will come in time, making those out pitches when you've got guys in advantageous counts and, not making mistakes when you've got guys on the ropes, putting guys away. That'll come, and he's going to make those adjustments. But I think what we're seeing so far is very encouraging when you're looking long-term in terms of who is going to be in this rotation long-term. How are these guys developing? I if you had told me a year ago, a year and a half ago, et cetera, I would have thought we'd be having this conversation about someone like Jordan Wicks. As far as I'm starting to see projecting him into this rotation for years to come. He's kind of developing and holding down that spot. At least for right now, that person appears to be Ben Brown. And it's an exciting development. It's a guy they got in a trade, and they appeared to, really be doing good work there. But it is going to be a process. And it's where you really like we said, you really feel it when you're missing your top two starters. It becomes a lot harder to just appreciate those developments going on in the background and have that patience when, you kind of he sort of needs to be the number two in this rotation right now, the number three, however you want to phrase that, but really encouraged by what we're seeing from Brown. So we're going to take our second ad break here. We'll be back let's talk about Matt Shaw next. I'm going through our topics in my head, and that's who I want to talk about next. So we'll take our second ad break here. We'll be back to talk about Matt Shaw.
Finances can be messy and confusing, but Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. It's more than your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center for your accounts, investments, and goals. Don't just manage your money, start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners. Melt that stress away. Monarch Money melts my stress away. Start managing your finances to build the life you actually want. Monarch makes managing money simple, even for busy lives. It is the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 five-star reviews. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code CHGO. New vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal during the Employee Pricing Plus Sales event. Head to Ray CDJR and Route 12 today to choose from over their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. Right now, lease the new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe for only $245 a month for 24 months. The price you see is also the price you pay. It's that simple. Go check out our partner today to shop one of the Chicago's area's largest inventories. Find the right new vehicle for you, then drive home happy. The team at Ray CDJR is the only one we recommend. So for more information, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
All right, Brendan, back in with you talking about your first place Chicago Cubs. Always nice to say. We haven't had enough of those days over the last several years. So I'm just savoring every time I go to Wrigley for these games and I look up at the scoreboard in the outfield and that blue and red flag is on top. I'm like, that's nice.
What, this one right here?
Well, so that flag, Brendan, is from them winning the World Series in 2016.
Which year?
I was actually referring to just their, the Cubs on the standings flags. But yes,
so that's when the Cubs won the World Series
in 2016. That's correct.
Just making sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about third base, and really where that stems from is on Thursday, Matt Shaw hit 2 home runs. I believe he led off the game with a home run and he walked off the game with a home run, both of them going to the opposite field, Brendan. And in the month of May, overall for Matt Shaw, a 255 batting average, 375 on base, 532 slug. And I think whether he is at the point that he has made the adjustments that they sent him down for, not really something that we're going to know until they say it. I know the hitting coach down there had said that a couple weeks ago. He's like, he's ready. Get him back up there.
It's like, all right.
But ultimately, and this is one of, I expressed this concern in the offseason when they sent him down in the first place. And I actually share the same concern now, because you're in that spot where you kind of have to square his development and what you may think is best, and also what is best for the major league team. And as I look at things, Brendan, he looks good. down there. I think you're seeing more of what you want to see, especially him driving the ball to the opposite field. That's one of the things that makes him such a talented hitter. But, we've reached the point where through the first month of the season or so, John Birdie had a 105 WRC plus. He's been fine on defense, occasional blunders that don't look so good, but overall, I think totally fine over there. But now he's rocking a 56 WRC plus. And so the problem becomes, and I saw this from my good friend Uncle Jeff on Twitter, right now, Matt Shaw's performance earlier in the season would have him as the best hitting third baseman the Cubs have had this season of everybody that's played over there. And I think that was with a 65 WRC plus. So you reach a point where it's like, as long as you don't feel like you're doing him any harm by coming back up and continuing to develop at the major league level, which was likely part of the reason they made the quick hook to send him down in the first place, I think you got to do this soon, Brendan, because the third base position has gone from, okay, it's fine, it's kind of contributing, it's average-ish, we'll get by with it, to downright bad on the offensive perspective. And you really feel that. Going back to what we talked about in the beginning, no Ian Happ, your sluggers aren't playing out of their minds like they were at the beginning of the season. Getting no production from that bottom of the order spot it really hurts. And I think at some point you got to say, let's go for the ceiling. Matt Shaw was doing better than this, and I don't think he's going to do any worse. And the ceiling is obviously so much higher. And I think we're getting to the point where it's like, all right, let's see it. Let's pull the trigger on that again.
I don't know how I feel about that. I hear you. It's the third base situation is a mess. The projectability at the position as it currently stands is extremely low, even with Matt Shaw. Let's say we do promote him. The range of outcomes is still too wide. So there's a scenario where, you do promote him and he does look better, and whatever changes he made, where the AAA assistant hitting coach is saying he's ready, carries over. That's the ideal scenario. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know what exactly the goals they set out for Shaw to reach before he comes back up. What I do know is that when he was at the big league level, his performance was so unexpected in neither a good way nor a bad way, just an unexpected way. So he still made a lot of contact, but Corey, he made 66% contact at pitches outside the zone, and the average contact rate is 55. So he's making a lot of contact outside the zone. So in one sense, that shows to me he's able, when intentionally trying to make contact. I love that. But two, it's this pitch selection process that's not fine-tuned yet. And we've heard, Brian Smith talk about this, Huss talk about this, Zumas talk about this, where one of the intentions is to go to AAA to get that slug back, to not just limit the strikeouts, but continue to make the hard contact he showed last year. And even still in AAA, although we don't know the specific time frame, he's still making too much contact on pitches outside the zone. Now, has that changed in the past 7 days, 10 days? I'm not sure. Has he made mechanical changes? I'm not sure. I saw the home run that you sent me today. It looks pretty similar. I really don't know. I'll default to the coaches. But regardless, if we're not seeing performance by the start of June, you got to start looking outside the organization. You got to start making aggressive decisions, including DFA and Turner, or moving on from the current group, including Bruhan and maybe even Birdie as well. You got to really make sure that third base is not this sunk cost that it currently is.
No, and like I said, I would defer to the coaches as well, and that's sort of what I mean, where I was sort of predicting all of this in the offseason. And I remain rather frustrated.
Well, it was an easy prediction to make.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's just very frustrating to be sitting here. And I agree with you. Like that is my concern, is that if they feel like he's not ready and they want him to keep,
then he's going to be below replacement.
Then that is what you'd want them to do. But at some point, I'm like, well, this third base situation is no good. Like, at least he has the higher ceiling. But no, I agree with you. Ultimately, my main priority is Matt Shaw's development. He's too important to this organization to say, like, well, screw it. Like, we got to throw him at third base. But it's just becoming a position, as you said, where it's a black hole over there, man. Like, and the other option is Nicky Lopez, whose WRC plus on the year is in the negatives.
No offense to Nicky Lopez, but I look at him, I see Nicky Madrigal. Okay, I can't be doing these smaller third basemen anymore. Again, no offense to him, but it triggers some bad memories.
Yeah, so it's tough, and like I said, there was a point in the year where the Cubs 7, 8, 9 spots were leading the majors in RBIs, but there's been a lot of lineup movement that keys that. And Birdie was fine for the first month, but really come down hard here. And it just remains a premium position across the league, where you just can't be getting 50% below league average play on the offensive side on a nightly basis. And like I said, I think Birdie's been fine defensively, some blunders, some ugly ones, but he's not a good enough defender to justify
the position needs to be
improved. Yes.
Yeah. It's really simple. It needs to be improved. So it's a matter of, if you call up Shaw now, do you improve it in August because you let him, go through the adjustment phase? Or if you keep him in Iowa, does that allow him to produce in August? Which one's more likely? Yeah. We don't know, right? So the coaches are going to have to figure that out.
This is the spot I didn't want them to be in, where Matt Shaw's development sort of becomes the guiding force. And it's like, well, that gets really tricky because you need to win games at the major league
it's
level,
a worst case outcome for a third base situation.
Well, at least we don't have to worry that Alex Bregman has a 170 WRC plus or something like that, right? Because, oh no, wait a minute, he does. Oh, okay, sorry.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that right now?
No, he does. Oh, you're saying on the Cubs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, imagine that. We'd be the best team in the league. All you had to do is get the checkbook out, add four to the last digit. That's all you had to do. Go to 33 million. My God. Oh well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? So it's been an area that we've been focused on since spring training, and an area that we're going to continue to focus on because unfortunately, we're past that point where it was getting kind of passable production. And again, you really feel it when Hap's out, your stars aren't at their hottest. And it's like, sometimes you need those other guys to contribute a little bit and not just be closer to automatic outs. That really weighs everything down. So we'll see what they decide to do. At the moment, we kind of know what the options are. As far as going forward, I'm not sure, but it's definitely going to be a point of contention for everything. So
would you be okay with Bush taking reps at third base? It's been hinted.
Well, only that he would do it in an emergency. I saw the clip the other day, but then our guy Jared Willis and I think Bruce Levine followed up that he just likes doing that because he likes seeing the ball from different positions, helps keep him fresh. And they weren't doing that like as some sort of like, oh yeah, this is happening kind of plan. So I didn't really read anything into it. Michael Bush said not to. So I don't know. He's made a lot of strides at first base, and that feels like it gets a little messy at that point. So I'm not really sure that I would be super comfortable with that. I feel like at that point you're really risking messing with Bush's development at first base. And who's playing first in that scenario? Ballesteros?
Sure.
Justin Turner? Well, so that's what I'm asking. Like, it's if we see that if we see that Ballesteros settles in and looks like you're comfortable doing that, maybe like I'd be comfortable doing that, but that's a lot of moving pieces, man. And it just feels like really, really the potential to mess with some of the good stuff that you have going on there.
Well, it's May 15th. Like, you have to make a decision on how to proceed at the deadline soon. You need as much information as possible. So by putting Bush at third base now, do you get that information within 4 weeks to really persuade you against improving at the corners? Probably not. Like, you're probably on the trajectory of making a deal in some fashion at the trade deadline to shore up third base, unless Shaw comes up tomorrow and he looks like, the extreme outlier version that PCA showed last year. Yeah.
So did just want to address that. I know there's going to be a lot of discussion after Shaw had the day that he did on Thursday. I think I think you and I represent the opposite ends of that conversation. I agree with you deep down about prioritizing his development.
It's not development though, Corey. If you call him up, you saw what he was producing prior. It was replacement level. So if you keep him down in AAA because he has not made those adjustments, then you increase the likelihood of production in August. If you call him up
that's
now,
what that is prioritizing his development.
No, it's prioritizing value at third base for the Cubs. I want to produce value in August. So that if the best chance for that to happen in Iowa now, then you got to keep him down there.
I agree.
I
agree.
Okay.
I'm just getting antsy. I think you and I are on the same page. I'm just antsier than you are, and like kind of over it, I guess, and just like, hey, Matt Shaw, go do your thing. Like, you're not going to do any worse. So anyway,
I mean, like at the end of the day, push comes to shove, I'll do the same thing. Just call him up tomorrow. I don't care.
I don't know. We'll leave it to the experts,
Sure.
Of which we are not. So we're going to take our last ad break here. Then we're going to come back. I want to talk about some of these bullpen arms and sort of reset how we feel about that, especially, the Merriweather thing concerning, but a lot of the developments that the Cubs have made, especially some of these guys that they've brought in, really, really encouraging, Brendan. And I want to highlight that and talk about some of those things. So we'll take our last ad break here, and then we'll come back and talk about the Cubs bullpen.
Right-in optics. No matter what outdoor activities you prefer, it's always important to have the best view. Right-in optics offers a full range of optic products so you can see clearly. Everyone can use a good pair of binoculars. Better view your kid's sporting event. Better view in the Wrigley Field bleachers to go see Cade Horton pitch. Right-in offers high performance at a lower price. The perfect balance of performance and value. The Right-in Promise unlimited lifetime warranty also not only covers defects, but also accidental damage from drops. Let's say you get up too fast, you're cheering, kind of, drop your binoculars. Right-in has that Right-in Promise unlimited lifetime warranty. Get a better look at everything, quality products you can trust. Check out the full line of Right-in products today at rightinoptics.com/CHGO. That's RITON optics.com/CHGO. All right. Well, summer is right around the corner. It's heating up in Chicago. Is your home's air conditioning up for that challenge? Well, Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Now it's time to get your air conditioning checked out, and Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. 2024 was officially Chicago's hottest year on record. The heat index even reached 114 degrees last summer at O'Hare. Four Seasons expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service, and Four Seasons does not charge more for service during nights, weekends, and holidays, even if it reaches those crazy temperatures. So schedule your Four Seasons AC tune-up today. Get $50 and enjoy a 1-year no breakdown guarantee. Save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with Four Seasons, new AC units from $39 a month, and AC furnace combos from $57 a month. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
All right, Brendan. So last 12 minutes or so, want to talk about, did we forget about anything before we get to the bullpen? I don't think so.
I mean, we didn't really talk about Ballesteros, I mean, he's up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's an interesting bat. He's one of those rare, unique guys who makes a ton of contact, has moderate slug, advanced bat tool. Some of the at-bats he did show, quite frankly, AAA at-bats.
Yeah.
Reaching out far outside the zone, hitting into would-be double plays. That needs to be ironed out, but it's encouraging the Cubs continue to be promoting these guys.
Yeah, well, and I was at that game with our friend Dr. Ryan Tomier, and I turned to him both of those at bats, the big ones, and I said, "This is really tricky because you want to come through, you want to feed off that energy from the crowd, but what is he, 23?" I mean, talk about a daunting moment, man. Like a full Wrigley Field on their feet, all the pressure, and you want to come through. I think like that's just one of those times where just too much going on.
He got outside his zone.
Yeah, the game will slow down for him. It will come in time. Fortunately, unfortunately, just right in those spots immediately in his debut. So I look forward to him being in this lineup. I think we'll see him this weekend. Sounds like there's going to be some wind blowing out, warm weather games this weekend. Get him in there. mash the ball around the field. Tough situation for your debut. It's one of those, you feel like, oh, it's the Marlins or the White Sox, the soft part of the schedule. Let's get him in there. Bases loaded, game on the line, all the fans up cheering. Like, that's a tough spot to control those emotions. Like, it's not the type of thing that I always try to remember. Like, I couldn't do that. Like, I'd be terrified to throw the first pitch at a Cubs game, let alone like hitting in those situations. And he'll learn about it. He will learn how to calm down, stay in the moment, stay in his approach, and continue doing what he did through all levels of the minor league system. So I look forward to seeing him get in there. And all I can really say is, look, he respected 90 in the 9th inning in that last one. Didn't get the double play turned. And hey, look, it really mattered. Vidal came in, scored the tying run, and there you go. So moving on to some of the bullpen guys, reevaluating how much we like or trust these guys. And really want to start, Brendan, I guess, with Julian Merryweather. I mean, that one's pretty simple. If he doesn't have the velo at around 98, like we've seen him at times, probably not going to work. Like, we've just seen this from him. It's a few bad outings in a row, a disaster of an outing against the Marlins. I mean, when you're getting kind of taken to task by the Marlins offense, like, they're letting you walk guys, they're knocking you around the park, not a good sign. And I think in that last outing, some of those fastballs were 93. Like, that is not going to work for him. It's got to be 98, somewhere around there. Even 96, probably not going to get it done for Julian Merryweather. So I don't know if there's an IL stint or, some sort of thing that happens here. But unless you see some of that stuff level out, like, unfortunately, like, it's just not going to play for Julian.
No, I mean, the velocity has to be higher for his stuff to play. The shapes still look good, but the velocity is just, being downplayed. That being said, although it's being downplayed, you're getting performances that are plus from Pomeranz. Porter Hodge still looks good. Brad Keller still looks good. Chris Flexen provides some longevity options. And Caleb Thielbar looks like the guy the Cubs signed. So in the pecking order, circle of trust, triangle, whatever you want, right now you have 5 guys that are performing well with Flexen, Keller, Thielbar, Pomeranz, and Hodge. So it's a dynamic process. To bring this full circle to your earlier point, there's multiple seasons within the season. The first bullpen season was a little shaky. Ryan Presley, the closer, Caleb Thielbar had a slow start. We didn't even have Drew Pomeranz. This is the second iteration. Now you're seeing some success. The third iteration, I'm sure there'll be another unfortunate performance from some of these guys that will bring in the next crew. And just so it goes.
Yeah. But, really, I think mainly want to highlight, these successes, right? The Merryweather thing is what it is. They're going to have to adjust and make their determination on that. Obviously, that's a guy, when you came into this season, kind of figured he'd be your 7th inning man, maybe in the 8th inning, depending on how they dealt with Porter Hodge and, where they want him. But we'll see how they deal with that. But some real early season success stories from this team. Brad Keller, 18 2/3, a 3.3 ERA. Caleb Thielbar now 14 1/3, 3.14 ERA. Daniel Palencia, man, 13 innings.
Palencia too. I forgot about Palencia.
I knew that you did, but it's fine. 1.38 ERA and the energy to boot. I mean, everything he's doing in the dugout is fun to watch. His energy when he's coming. I texted you the other night. He had a big strikeout. I texted you right away. You got to see if they got a shot of Palencia coming off the mound. I can tell he's screaming and, so love that. Always love those guys that have that energy. And then you look at 2 guys that, I and others would have rolled our eyes at you if you were trying to sell me on Drew Pomeranz and Chris Flexen coming out of this bullpen. Right now, Brendan, I'm looking at 2 guys, unless my Fangraphs page is wrong. I'm looking at 2 guys that are their ERA is right there.
No runs.
I mean, that's great. And we talked about it in the offseason, Brendan. Like, if you're not going to play in the top end of the reliever market, or you don't have those guys already in-house that you're like, these are elite closers. These are the best of the best. These are the guys that people draft in fantasy baseball in the high rounds because they're going to get 30, 40 something saves. If you don't have those guys, you have to be able to bring them in and do exactly what the Cubs have done. We'll see if it lasts for guys like Flexen and Pomeranz, but like right now in this season, the Brad Keller thing, man, one of the absolute biggest W's for this Cubs front office and pitching infrastructure. They went out and got a guy who used to be a starter. They're digging into that TrackMan data, and they found themselves a high leverage reliever. That's what they have to do. They have to be better than other organizations at bringing guys in, fixing them, tweaking them, etc., and turning them into guys that they can use.
And when free agents like Keller in the future are picking which teams to take a minor league offer, well, now you have this precedent from the Cubs. Word gets around, well, they did this for me, they did that for me, and people want to go do that with the Cubs to turn their careers around. So it does have long-lasting effects, but it also points to the value of this type of pitching infrastructure. It's had its flaws. The last year in April, May had its problems. It's imperfect. There's probably other teams and organizations that are better than the Cubs. It's a growing process. But so far, what we've seen is a lot of the guys they've targeted due to unique features, all of them basically having that cut ride profile, Chris Flexen, Brad Keller, and so on. They're having success with them. And then they bring Drew Pomeranz out from, the woodworks over here.
Yeah.
Hasn't pitched in 4 years, 9 innings, no runs. He's throwing exactly the same pitches as he threw 4 years ago. Almost the exact same velocity, same shape, same curveball, everything. If he continues to do this, he's a high leverage guy. I think Caleb Theobar to boot with that. The conversation about not having a lefty to start the year. Remember that conversation? Well, we have Merriweather, right? You got Drew Pomeranz and Caleb Theobar as your lefty guys right now, right? Where did that come from? So this has to happen. And you and I talked about this to finish up the point. If this were to not happen, then the front office is in jeopardy. Their jobs are in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Their jobs rely on this. It's not just some type of luxury. It is a necessity in today's sport to be doing what they're doing.
Well, and it's one of those things that we continue to look at where it changes how you might approach what they need to do or where they need to spend their resources come the deadline. I still look at this team that I agree with one of the points that W. Collins in our chat is making. Like, is anyone locked down?
No, you need that lockdown.
You guy. Still are missing, it hasn't been Porter Hodge either. For as great as he looks at times and as great as his stuff is, they still need. Like, if you told me however many months from now someone is on the mound in a 1-run game at home closing, let's call it game 6. I can't live through another game 7.
Why
of the
game
World
6?
Series.
Do it game 4.
And it's the 9th inning, 2-1. In my vision, whoever is on the mound, I don't think they're on this team right now. And so I still think they need that absolute top tier reliever.
They need that Mike Montgomery type,
Exactly. Right. Or John Lester. I hear he's really good in relief.
There you go.
So, but like they still need to make improvements, but there is a big difference in if you feel like you have 5-6 guys that you can trust and that can get you outs, even if they have their bumps in the road occasionally, that completely changes. Then maybe you're looking at the deadline thinking, all right, we need one big time high leverage reliever. We need our Aroldis Chapman circa 2016, that type of vibe. Where they did win the World Series after they made that trade.
Correct. Yes.
If you're at the beginning of the season, man, like at times it looked like, holy cow, they're going to need to trade for 8 different people to get a bullpen together. Like at certain points, it looked like Porter Hodge was the only person in this bullpen that
and even then.
So if you feel like, okay, we got 5 or 6 guys we feel comfortable about, they can be our 6th inning guys, 7th inning guys, maybe even 8th inning guys. Great. And then you can put your resources towards really going and getting that lockdown guy if they're available at the deadline. Obviously, you can't control that. But just really nice to see how they all fare the rest of the season and where the hierarchy lands out. We'll see. But it's just nice to see that they've identified some guys, and at least some of the early returns are really, really nice. And they look like potential successes for this organization.
The foundation's there. Is assuming the foundation remains while adding to it. And the addition has to be, in my opinion, the guy you're talking about, the guy that you envision in the highest of highest leverage situations, striking someone out. That guy is currently not on this team, in my belief.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to get out of here. Always plenty to talk about, but ultimately, the Cubs still sitting in first place. I think the offense will heat up rather soon, and I am looking forward to Cade Horton making his first major league start and his Wrigley Field debut on Friday. Join the 120 Club in the bleachers if you are so inclined. Brendan and I will be back with you next Thursday. We appreciate all your support. Make sure you're subscribed to the new CHGO Cubs exclusive YouTube page. We will talk to you again next week. And as always, go Cubs.
We all silly like the mayor.